Good evening, everyone. It being on or about 6:30 on November 17th, 2025, I call the meeting of the Easton Conservation Commission to order. This meeting is being conducted remotely over Zoom. Attendance by board and commission members will be remote, and remote attendance shall count towards a quorum. This meeting may be broadcast live and will be recorded by ECAT. So let's begin as we always do with a roll call vote to establish quorum. Carol present.
Grossman present.
Beatty present.
Vecchio present.
All right, so our first order of business is general public comment. I can see we have quite a few attendees tonight. General public comment should not be geared towards any specific project that's on the agenda. There will be an opportunity for public comment at each of the projects on tonight's agenda. So if anyone's here for general public comment, please raise your hand. All right, seeing none, we'll move on to hearings and possible deliberations. Up first is 320 Washington Street, Stonehill College, which is a request for determination of applicability to reconstruct a footbridge along a walkway at Stonehill between Sally Blair Ames Sports Complex and the Martin Institute.
Good evening, Jim Borback from OHI Engineering here. I think Joe Falone from Stonehill College is also attending. We filed an RDA for reconstruction of the footbridge. That footbridge was in poor condition, is needed for pedestrian safety and access. It's located within buffer zone and in a flood zone. The footbridge will be constructed on existing abutments, so there's no new foundation required. The abutments have been reviewed by a structural engineer. They're suitable for reuse.
Sorry, Jim, do you have a map or some photos that you'd like to show while you're describing it so we can follow along? Thank you.
Is that visible to everybody?
Yes, but you'll have to zoom in.
Zoom in. Is that good?
So I can see like the locus map, but if you wanted to show us details of the bridge, you'd have to move your screen to the right a little and zoom a bit further.
Uh-oh. Now my Zoom skills are being tested and noted to be coming up short.
Not noted. We do this most meetings.
Can you see the plan as well as the locus map at this stage?
I see the plan, yes.
Okay. So off to the right is Francis Hurley Way. That's where we'll be getting access. You can see the bridge at the footbridge is right where my cursor is showing. There's a couple of existing abutments on each side. The BVW is from Mass Mapper, and we showed the 100-foot buffer zone. It is in a flood zone A, as you can see from the plan. So the bridge would be reconstructed with wood by hand. There was a couple of small areas where some asphalt had been pulled up as part of the initial work for this narrow section. We propose to replace that at the pre-existing grade, so no fill would be placed inside as a part of the work. We're showing erosion control extending a little bit further on the Francis Hurley Way side, since we'll be accessing the work site from that location. The erosion control barrier would be installed prior to starting of any work. We're showing it overlapping the end of the abutments, the landward side of the end of the abutments by a couple feet so that we don't have gaps there. We use the town's detail for the erosion control barrier. We're requesting that you folks issue a negative determination. Thank you.
Thank you. Noting for the record that Commissioner Goodman has joined us.
Thank you.
Of course. Jen, do you have any staff comment on 320 Washington Street?
Yeah, no, but if we could hit the plus button a few more times so we can zoom in a little bit more, that would be helpful.
Is that better?
Yep, maybe one more, please. Much better. Now we can read the words.
Okay, great.
I know, I did not have any staff comments.
I don't have any questions on this. Do any members of the commission have comments or questions?
Nope.
No, thank you.
Okay. Anyone here for public comment on 320 Washington Street?
Nope.
Seeing none, Jim, I assume you would like to close this?
Yes, please.
Motion to close the public hearing on 320 Washington Street.
Second.
Carol motion, Spadia second, roll call vote. Carol, I.
Crossman, aye.
Goodman, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Motion to issue a decision under the Wetland Protection Act as a +5 and -2, and a decision under the bylaw as a -2.
Vecchio, second.
Carol motion, Vecchio second, roll call vote. Carol, I.
Crossman, aye.
Goodman, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm having a hard time with my Zoom screen and that I can't see everybody. So just give me 1 minute here. So Jim, you are all set. Thank you and good luck with the project.
Thanks so much. Have a good evening, folks.
Of course,
too.
you as well.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
So up next is 251 Pequannock Ave, which is a notice of intent for the repair of a septic system.
Good evening. Can you guys hear me and see my plan tonight?
We can hear you and we can see the plan.
Cool. For the record, Peter Lyons with Collins Civil Engineering Group. As mentioned, we're here tonight for a notice of intent relative to the repair of a failed septic system at 251 Pequannock Avenue. I'll zoom in just a touch on the plan and we can see the rectangular property with wetland flags 1 through 11 delineated on site to the north of the lot. The 50-foot buffer basically bisects the property, and the 100-foot buffer falls down here on the south corner. Our proposal for this one is to replace the existing septic tank with a new 1,500-gallon concrete tank to a 20 by 36-foot leaching field, which would be not a pump system, but a slight elevation change, approximately 1.5 feet above existing grade. To accommodate the new leaching field, we are looking at the removal of one larger tree, about a 15 to 18 inch diameter, right in the middle of the system, approximately 75 feet from the resource, and some minor vegetation clearing, which is kind of just overgrowth creeping into the lawn at this point on the southern end. That of which is outside the 100-foot buffer. We have proposed erosion control along the northern extent of the driveway. That's just pushed to the edge of the driveway to accommodate site access, which will be inside the 50-foot buffer. All of the proposed septic components are greater than 50 feet, so outside the 50-foot buffer. However, we are requesting access within the 50. With this one, we're proposing 5 conservation markers along the existing tree line to the north and 1 in the back right of the property on the 50-foot buffer at the tree line. We show dewatering location in the front right yard being outside the 100-foot buffer. What else? That's pretty much it. So 1 tree coming down in the proposed leaching. Minimal grading change. Most of the work is existing lawn area. We do have a waiver for this one for working within the 100 and accessing within the 50. The public good, as it typically is, for the public good comment, anytime we're replacing a failed and outdated septic system, that's a good thing for the environment. It's a good thing for the neighbors and the homeowner. So that's our presentation. I don't believe there were any issues or staff comments, but if anyone has questions, I'll try to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer, do you have any staff comment on this one?
There were not any on this one. Thank you.
Okay, I also don't have any questions or comments, Peter. Other members of the commission, any questions or comments?
Looks great.
Any public comment here for 251 Pequannocket?
Nope.
I should make this clear. If you have public comment, use the hand raise function at the center of the Zoom bar below. All right, seeing none, Pete, I assume you'd like to close?
Yes, please.
Motion to close the public hearing for 251 Pequannocket Ave.
Second.
I missed who said second.
Crossman, second.
Thank you, Nate. Carol, motion. Crossman, second. Roll call vote. Carol, aye.
Crossman, aye.
Goodman, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Motion to issue an order of conditions and permit for work for 251 Pequannocket Ave.
Vecchio, second.
Carol, motion. Vecchio, second. Roll call vote. Carol, aye.
Crossman, aye.
Goodman, aye.
Spady, aye.
Up next is 10 Lantern Lane, which is a notice of intent for deck construction.
All right, that one is me again. Let me pull that up. Again, for the record, Peter Lyons with Collins Civil Engineering, representing the homeowner at 10 Lantern Lane. This project, this would be the third somewhat recent NOI on this project. We just closed out the last one for the replacement of the septic system and some site work, including a new driveway. Part of the old proposal and COC that was issued in the fall was a significant amount of plantings and getting the lawn in good shape. So, you know, I think the owner has done everything above and beyond to meet the satisfaction of the commission as far as the existing state of the site. They are coming back requesting a 12 by 14 foot deck on piles off the back right of the property, just inside the 50-foot buffer. If we zoom in a little bit, the intent of this is to have a small deck or gathering area just outside of the main driveway entrance here. We've proposed sedimentation control as close as 21 feet to the resource, just wrapping around the whole area. As mentioned, this is proposed on piles, so we're not doing you know, any earthwork. There'll be no grading changes. And this is an existing lawn area, which will, you know, so that's pervious area. It's going to be a pervious deck, so no impervious increase associated with the project. Because we're working within the 50, we have provided some mitigation plantings, being 9 shrubs, which we're proposing as arrowwoods along the northern and eastern borders of the proposed deck. The proposed deck will only be a couple feet above grade, and the arrowwoods we feel are a good choice to, you know, help kind of give it the wooded aesthetic look of the property. They're a hardy, tolerant plant, so we think it's a good choice. The waiver that was submitted, due to the work and the placement within the 50-foot buffer, describes the public good section here. Give me one second. What do we do with this? Basically, the public good is this area it's going to be an outdoor area to promote social gatherings, also getting people outside, you know, out of the house and into nature is kind of the thought of this. With all the recent plantings, it's turning into a beautiful property. with the new stuff as well as the wooded area behind it. So the client's just trying to, utilize the existing yard, but also take advantage of the nature that they're placed in. So that's kind of our comment as far as the public good. There are existing conservation posts already on site, so we haven't proposed any additional. We feel what's out there is sufficient. All existing and new plantings are shown kind of by the black dots on the plan. Larger trees are the larger symbols. If anyone's been out there recently, I think you'd all agree that the site's in good shape. So we're hoping for approval with this project. And that's what I got for you. Any questions, concerns from the commission?
Is this our second or third notice of intent here?
This is the third. We did one for the septic, then we came back for the driveway.
Yep.
And I forget what else, some other little site improvements. But yeah, this would be the third now.
I don't have any questions or comments. I think it's a small deck. I think the mitigation's appropriate as the public benefit. Jen, do you have any staff comment here?
I don't. No. Looks good. Thank you.
Questions or comments from other members of the commission? All right, seeing none. Any public comment here for 10 Lantern Lane? Again, seeing none. Pete, I assume you'd like to close.
Yes, we would, please.
Motion to close the public hearing for 10 Lantern Lane.
Crossman second.
Carol motion, Crossman second, roll call vote. Carol, aye.
Crossman aye.
Goodman, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio aye.
Motion to issue an order of conditions and permit for work for 10 Lantern Lane.
Second.
Carol motion, Goodman second, roll call vote. Carol, aye.
Crossman aye.
Goodman, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio aye.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you all very much. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
See you soon. Up next is 95 Union Street, to be located off of Winterberry Lane, which is a notice of intent for the installation of utilities, driveways, and stormwater for 4 lots and impervious surface turnaround with a rain garden and new shared stormwater infiltration system.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening. For the record,
evening.
Eric Dias, registered professional engineer, Strong Point Engineering, representing Garcon Corp. On 95 Union Street. Let me just share my screen here. You folks will remember that we were before you for an ANRAD on this property back in June. Since that time, we have been in front of the planning board for a subdivision modification of Winterberry to allow these 4 lots to be created and added in. What resulted from that is what you see before you now. It is 4 single-family lots. The third in the back here is an estate lot. They all front on Winterberry. As part of the review and approval process with the planning board, the stormwater design on this was thoroughly reviewed by Beta. So that's been taken care of and kind of checked off the list. So you'll notice on your agenda, we have filed 2 notices of intent on this particular property. The reason for that is that lot 1, which is over here where my cursor is the only lot that's going to have house-related construction in the buffer zone. The remainder of the work within buffer zones all has to do with common utilities and access off of Winterberry. So we split it up into 2 separate notices of intent, thinking it was a good divide line, and it actually works, frankly, better for our conveyance purposes. So the first one that we'll talk about is the common utility work, which let me just kind of zoom in and show everybody what we're doing. And you'll have to forgive me, for some reason my computer's running rather slow tonight, of course.
It's loading.
It's coming, it's getting there. So, what we proposed is a collection system that for runoff collection system across the frontage of the property. There's a couple of catch basins, there's a couple of trench drains at the driveways. Our intention here was really to isolate our stormwater entirely from what happens on Winterberry Lane right now. So all of that discharges to an infiltration system located here on Lot 4. There is a water quality treatment unit before that, and as I said, everything's been peer reviewed already and passed with flying colors. The majority of the work that's in buffer zone associated with this starts where my cursor is right here and goes to where my cursor is right here. All of that is in a buffer zone that's cast from a BBW on the opposite side of Winterberry Lane. So we have a street dividing us with curbs and a median, so that helps protect that wetland. Additionally, the vast majority of this work is already in disturbed areas on the shoulder of Winterberry, which is good. Similar to that work, the other thing that's involved in this is the construction of a turnaround through the median. It's actually something that was requested both by the Homeowners Association and by the planner at the time. So just to zoom in a little bit on that, all it is a cut through of that median, just a little paved area within the street that's there already. And there's only a very little portion of it that clips the 100-foot buffer zone in this location. So there's really not much. The other buffer zone disturbances associated with this one have to do with the infiltration system on Lot 4. It is approximately 1,255 square feet of buffer zone disturbance. It is obviously on the outer side of the 100. I think our closest disturbance to the BBW is just over 70 feet in that location. Excuse me. And the remainder of buffer zone on the site, with the exception of Lot 1, is going to remain undisturbed, is the plan. So it's really, in the grand scale, it's a very minor disturbance that's proposed in that location. So, I think I just grabbed the wrong thing here. There we go. So really, those are the finer parts. We're going to be bringing water and gas across the median, but that will be brought across under the cut through that we're doing to minimize any disturbance within that median, because that median also serves as a stormwater function. And aside from that, the only work that we'll be doing under this notice of intent is just cutting in the mouths of these driveways. What we'll likely do is come in off the road 20 or so feet, cut those in, so that way there's a nice clear path for people constructing houses to get off the road, get into the site, and go from there. So really, that's it on this one, and I'm glad to answer any questions that you... Oh, actually, that's not it. One more thing. When we were before you for the ANRAD, there was some note about a path that has eroded on site into the stream. And a violation notice was sent after the ANRAD proceedings, and we understand that that has not yet been addressed. So what we have proposed as a part of this is a condition that would require that work to be addressed and taken care of to the satisfaction of the commission or its agent prior to the estate lot being issued a building permit. So that gives a lot of skin in the game to make sure that that gets done. And the other thing that I wanted to bring up, I realized this as Peter Lyons was talking, who was up just before me. On this particular one, I neglected to include conservation markers along the limit of disturbance on lots 2, 3, and 4. So I'm just going to go ahead and agree that we're going to put those in as a part of this, and we can touch up a plan and get it back to you folks to show those locations.
Sorry, my mic was off. No, that makes sense, Eric. Jen, do you have any staff comment you'd like to start with?
Yes. So a couple things. We do not have a staff report or a site inspection. The filing fees didn't actually get paid until late last week. And so we would need to continue so that the staff work can be completed. The gravel in the stream is a violation. It was noted as a violation that is separate from wetland permitting and needs to be addressed. It should have been addressed in July. But it needs to be addressed immediately and before you close the public hearing, in my opinion. And we'll just note that it looks like there are separate infiltration basins on each lot that would also help take care of stormwater. I'm not sure if you mentioned that, Eric. I was busy taking notes.
Yeah, I actually didn't mention that, and I should have. Yes, lots 2, 3, and 4 each have rooftop infiltration systems that will collect and recharge. If I recall correctly, it's the entirety of the 100-year storm. And lot 3 also has a smaller one to pick up a small portion of the driveway. That gets picked up in a water quality unit and infiltrated outside of any buffer zone. So there's a good amount of infiltration going on this project.
Thank you.
Eric, was that all part of stormwater?
It was all part of the stormwater review with Beta, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That was actually sort of my question too, is what are we doing with the roof runoff?
Yep.
Questions or comments from any other commissioners? All right, seeing none. Any public comment here for 95 Union Street? And again, this is the portion of the project just affecting driveways and utility access.
We do. I'm promoting Roy. Put your hand up, but then declined to be.
So if you'd like to speak at the meeting, raise your hand using the Zoom function and we'll promote you. When you get promoted, it will prompt you to join as a panelist, and you can either select accept or decline. We are also able to accept comments through the chat function, which I will read into the public record.
So Roy's hand went up and back down again. So Felicity has her hand up.
Okay.
We'll take Felicity.
Felicity, just a reminder before you start, just introduce yourself by name and address for the record. Just so that you know, at the moment, we can't see or hear you. It seems as though your camera and mic is off. We can see you, but we cannot hear you yet.
Too many buttons. This is Felicity Kagan at 75 Union Street, North Easton. I want you to realize that this whole area from the bottom of French Pond, 2/3 of the way back to Elm Street Extension is under a FEMA floodplain study. If you look at the FEMA maps, it is outlined this whole area to the corner, the buffer of Easton and Brockton. It's all under a floodplain study. So if you think you can go back there and dredge the pond for whatever, gravel, whatever it is, that's against the Rapinos versus the United States, and the United States, the EPA, this is Supreme Court versus Sackett, 2023. So just bear that in mind, that this is all under a floodplain study, and will be against the United States Supreme Court rulings. Thank you.
I'm just going to clarify one thing for you, Felicity, while you're here. The gravel that we're talking about came from a cart path and it's eroded into the stream. So the violation and what we're asking, the commission is asking the property owner to do is remove just what's fallen into the stream and restore that area. It's not to dredge anything or to take out gravel. It's just to remove the amount that's been accidentally dumped into the stream so that it functions properly.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily gravel. I would hazard to guess it's excavation landfill that Wayne E. Benson was involved in prior to his death. According to his obituary, he was obtaining excavation landfill, and he made all those paths back there with the fill dirt that he put in there.
And then the last thing is just that we did the wetland resource area verification in June, as Eric mentioned, and the floodplain has been identified on the property, and none of the proposed activity is within the FEMA floodplain, just so it's clear for folks.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Jeff.
Did we have any additional public comment or question?
Roy's hand was up and then down again. Not sure what you want to do, Roy. Do you want to speak?
Roy, I'll just call your attention to you do have the ability to put in the chat.
Here, I'll try again. Here we go. Okay, it's coming up now.
So Roy, to speak, you'll have to turn on your mic and camera, which will be located at the bottom left of the Zoom screen.
Okay, gotcha.
We can hear you, but we can't see you yet. And as a reminder, before you start giving your public comment on this, we'll just need you to introduce yourself by name and address.
Okay. This is Roy Nakowitz. I live at 128 Winterberry Lane. And I do have some questions. Probably Mr. Diaz can answer this. The turnaround that's being proposed that's going to go across the rain garden, at some point there was a comment that there would be a sign that's going to state either what type of vehicles can go across it or vehicles that can't go across it. Do you know exactly what that sign is going to say?
So Eric, do you have an understanding of that?
I do, yes. So the intention of that cut through is to allow passenger vehicles to cross, basically for the 4 homeowners that will eventually be there, just to avoid them from going all the way down and looping through the second phase of Winterberry. So that sign will say something to the effect of, you know, trucks do not enter, passenger vehicles only. It's just intended to make that clear. It is a somewhat narrow space. We've run the truck turns. A passenger vehicle can make the turn. Anything significantly bigger than that is going to have to 3-point it, and we don't want that happening. We'll just send them around.
So the question I have, because we have a lot of signs in Winterberry and they're typically not listened to. That's one of the problems. So the cut through that you're going to put in there, is it going to be robust enough so that when the UPS vehicle makes its turn, even though it's not supposed to, that crossover is going to be robust enough not to collapse?
Well, it certainly won't collapse. It will be structurally sound. But if a UPS truck was to not follow the rules and try to make a U-turn through that area, they would have some maneuverability issues. And that becomes an enforcement issue through the police department or the homeowners association.
Well, in Winterberry right now, we have a couple of crossovers, one in between phase 1 and phase 2. They're actually quite wide. I think yours is going to be 15 feet. And the ones that we have are wide. And if you go to swing, you're doing a 3-point turn anyway, even with a typical sedan. So when people go to swing, I could see if you're turning into a driveway, you could easily do that. But if they go to swing, are you going to be affecting the sidewalk area so that they have room to swing? Because right now we can't swing on the ones we have, and they're much wider than 15 feet.
Through the chair, we're not disturbing the sidewalk areas. We're not going to move or widen those. Making the turn wider than 15 feet wouldn't do a whole lot for being able to make the U-turn.
Right.
the traffic analysis that we have says that a vehicle can make that U-turn. It was actually put in again at the request of the HOA, the HOA board at least, and it has been reviewed by peer and planning board, which it's within their jurisdiction. So,
Okay. I mean, speaking as a resident of the community, putting that in, that was an area when our development was created, until everything was put in place for the rain gardens. We had a substantial amount of water there. And that all got cleaned up, and we haven't had an issue. And I've been living there since the development was created. Just want to make sure that anything that you're doing is not going to bring that problem back. The other thing is, I understand for whatever reason there's some sensitivity about entering phase 2. We have a turnaround there already that the HOA feels for whatever reason is a dangerous thing to do, but it certainly gives a lot more swing area than just having a cut through. And having the cut through, we're going to create the same issue as the turnaround that's already there, and you wouldn't even have to build anything. But that's just a point that the thing exists already, and they're not entering phase 2. They just swing around and they would go back out, and even small trucks, manage that, and they're on the roadway. They're not going across a rain garden. The other thing I wanted to know is the 4 driveways that you're doing. It sounds like you've taken great effort to make sure that no stormwater enters Winterberry Lane. Those driveways, will water from the driveways enter Winterberry, or are the driveways sloped in towards the homes, or you have something to take care of that?
sure.
Yeah.
Through the chair, with regard to the driveways, we've sloped them to drain to the side of the driveway, if you can picture that. So the majority of the runoff from the driveways will flow to the existing lawn, the proposed lawn areas for the houses. And we put collection basins in those lawn areas to pick that water up. What we also did is kind of a fail-safe for that little bit of water that toward the very connection of the road that may not make it to the lawn. We added trench drains across the driveway to pick any of that up as well. So that's going to kind of belt and suspenders approach to making sure that we keep as much water as possible off of Winterberry. When I say as much as possible, it really amounts to none. And additionally, with regard to stormwater with the cut through, one of the things that we went through in our peer review with Beta was sizing a culvert to go under that cut through that will pass the same amount of water that goes through the median/rain garden now, to make sure that we're not impeding the flow of water anywhere to create a ponding concern like you referred to has happened in the past. So I'm pretty confident, I'm very confident that we have a very substantial stormwater design for this.
Okay, and now a question for conservation. In the winter, when we have snow, obviously they cannot plow snow into the rain gardens. We're not allowed to do that now. Are these properties designed where they have snow collection areas? Because they can't push the snow out. It'll go into the rain gardens, and also it's putting snow out onto, our street, which that will eventually turn to water. So has any thought been given to that? We do have snow collection areas within Winterberry where snow does get pushed to. Have these 4 houses had something similar put into their plan?
Mr. Chairman, if you'd like, so we do have an operations and maintenance plan as part of the stormwater package on this that defines where to put snow, and it is expressly prohibited from plowing the snow onto any stormwater conveyance, and that includes that rain garden. So the snow from these is going to have to be plowed to the, the sides of the driveways, onto the lawn areas in these particular locations.
Okay,
Two is that the owner of this is entering into a maintenance agreement, roadway maintenance agreement with the HOA. And these terms are defined in there as well, I believe. So it's kind of a double whammy. That operations and maintenance plan that we're talking about gets put on file at the Registry of Deeds with any order of conditions, I believe. And the agreement with the HOA is also going to be put on file with the Registry of Deeds, which makes both of those things enforceable by the commission and or by the HOA if they're not abided by.
Okay, that agreement between the HOA and Garcon is still in process from what I understand. The only reason I raised those issues is the original designer of our development, in talking with him, he just had some very strong feelings about the stormwater staying off of Winterberry Lane, knowing what the design is. And now I will be quiet.
Thank you, Roy.
Thank you for your comments, Roy.
Thanks for the answers. I appreciate it.
Of course. Anyone else here with public comment for 95 Union Street?
I'll have one, but you can take Felicity first if you like.
Yep, Felicity, please unmute yourself and turn the camera on if you have an additional comment.
Okay. Yeah, I want to talk about the label 95 Union Street. The Benson Concrete Products location is 91 Union Street, bought out by Blackledge Conoco. In the original plan of land of this before the selling of 91 Union Street, Benson Concrete Products to Blackledge, it indicated the property stopped at the bottom of 91 Union Street. In the plans of Easton by Leon Scott, it also indicated that 91 Union Street stopped at the northern part of my property that borders the Wildlands Trust of Brockton. However, when Kelly Engineering of Benson's Architectural Engineering Company did the plan of land for to sell 95 Union Street, they put in a strip of land down like they owned a right-of-way and a buffer offset, a zoning offset, down the easterly side of my property, which borders Brockton and the Wildlands Trust. And when this property was sold to Garcon, it included the strip of land down my property from the bottom of 91 Union Street to 95 Union Street, with an offset, zoning offset, on the east side of my property next to the Brockton border. And my deed specifically says that my land goes up to the wall and land of Winfield Gray in Brockton. The Massachusetts Historical Commission and the Easton Historical Commission have specifically said, and my deed say, that my land goes up to the wall and land of Winfield Gray in Brockton. Winfield Gray in 1878 bought Lot 1, 12 acres on the north side to Sumner Street off Pleasant Street, and Lot 2, 15 acres on the south side of Pleasant Street in Brockton. He did not own any land in Easton. And my land, the old French farm that became the Knapp farm, goes up to the wall and land of Winfield Gray. And I know, walking back there, that there's a big pile of rock, which Benson cleared out to give access to his pathway through the Wildlands Trust to the path that he created through my land. So clearly he's trying to sell off, or has sold off, a strip of my land with the zoning offset, which I believe, I'm not sure, he may have deeded over to the Wildlands Trust. So that this development is known as 95 Union Street, but it's not on Union Street. And it includes a strip of my land on the east side of my property that borders the Wildlands Trust.
The property is on Union Street.
How is it on Union Street? It's on
It-
Winterberry Lane.
The access to this project is on Winterberry.
So how is it on Union Street? It has no frontage on Union Street.
So they're going by what the assessors list as the street address. And I believe this question may have come up during the ANRAD process in June.
He
And
does not own that strip of land from the bottom of 90.
just a moment, please.
Okay,
We discussed this in June. We did mention that the plans have a stamped professional surveyor signature on it. And so if there's any question about a land dispute, property boundary, that tends to be a civil matter. That's not something that the Conservation Commission can take up. We do have plans that are stamped. We have to consider them accurate. Now, if something is wrong with the boundary, that doesn't, the wetland permit does not grant somebody access to somebody else's property. If there's still an issue, you would still need to address that through your, civil processes. But the project before the commission, the plans before the commission are stamped by a registered professional engineer and a professional land surveyor. So we have to assume that they are accurate.
I would refer you back to Leon Scott's plans of land for Easton, May of 2022, June 26, 27 of 2022, before Blackledge was approved by the Easton Board of Appeals. The land, the bottom of 91 Union Street reflected correctly my land to the border of Brockton, as it says in the deeds. And then it all got changed by Benson Kelly Engineering, of Benson's Architectural Engineering Company. It all got changed where they stripped off land on the easterly side of my, which in effect is grand larceny. It's a felony offense. So there you have it. I will refer it back to the land surveyor again and pay thousands of dollars more for this illegal land grab.
Thank you for the comment. Any other comments from the public?
I did have one question. Eric,
Please.
is there scheduling, a scheduling proposal for the cut-through area? I'm wondering how construction vehicles are getting to the site.
Yes, so the cut-through, the utility work and the cut-through is going to happen first. The reason the utilities are going to go with the cut-through is simply because we're going to put those under it. And our intention is to get that done and get out of Winterberry Lane as quickly as possible. We do not want, issues with the existing residents or anything like that. As far as construction vehicles, so again, large vehicles are not going to be able to make that turn. So if a lumber delivery is coming, let's say, or the stormwater chambers are being delivered, they're going to have to go around the loop at the second phase. But general, passenger-sized vehicles can make the turn.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any additional comments or questions from members of the commission? All right, seeing none. Is our next meeting 12/1, Jen?
12:15.
12:15, thank you. Eric, I assume you'd like to continue?
Yeah, I think so. Because I know Jen needs to put her staff comments together and that stuff. And what I can do once I get, those comments, I'll obviously address them, and I'll add the conservation markers that we talked about to the plans as well.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Motion to continue 95 Union Street, labeled to be located off of Winterberry Lane, to the 12/20/15/25 meeting of the Easton Conservation Commission.
Crossman second. Vecchio second. Get it, man.
Carroll motion, Crossman second, roll call vote. Carroll, aye.
Crossman, aye.
Goodman, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Up next is 95 Union Street, Lot 1.
I'm sorry, can you, just 1 second, I was trying to figure out who was talking in the background. So we had the motion to close. Did we do the motion to issue?
I'm sorry, we continued.
Oh, I'm sorry, continued. Sorry,
Yep.
thank you.
No, I had that same thing, Jen, totally.
I thought I was missing something. Thank you.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Eric, I can call it again, or you can start.
I'll just start.
Okay.
I'm not going to reintroduce myself. We just did that.
That's fair.
Let me share my screen here real quick. So what you see before you here is the septic plan for Lot 1. As you can see, the house itself is, well, let me start over here. This is the work with the common utilities that we talked about in the driveway apron. There is some grading work proposed in the 100-foot buffer zone from the BBW across the street, just for the kind of tail end of that septic system. The house itself and a portion of the side and rear yards are located between the 100 and the 50, but stay out of the 50. What else am I saying here? We have a wall along the limit of clear along a small portion of the 50 and the 100-foot buffer to the vernal pool. So we're staying completely out of the vernal pool buffer, the local buffer, and completely out of the 50. The rest of this is, sandwiched between two areas of jurisdiction. The septic system itself is kept out of the buffer zones. And really, that's the finer points of this one.
I'm sorry, the yellow dotted line in the middle of the house, that's the 100-foot buffer?
That is the 100, correct? Yes.
Okay.
Which should be more clearly labeled, so I'll take care of that too.
And I'm sorry to ask, Eric, but could you just point out where the vernal pool buffer is? I just want to make sure I'm looking at the right thing.
Yep, absolutely. So let me zoom out just a little bit. So the purple lines that you see here, this outer one is the 100-foot bylaw buffer. Mm-hmm. And then the bylaw boundary is this inner purple line that you see right here. So the vernal pool itself is actually just off of this property, just over the property line.
Okay.
But again, we obviously respected those buffers. So
yeah, you got quite a distance there.
Yeah, we're 2 feet away, 200 feet, excuse me, away from the delineated edge.
I don't have any additional questions. Any comments or questions from other members of the commission?
I just want the vernal pool, the buffer zone markers.
Yeah, let me add those to this one too. I apparently don't know what I'm doing at this point. No,
So the same comment as the last one. The filing fees were not addressed until late last week, so there's no staff report or site inspection yet, and so I would need a continuance for that.
Okay.
And I think I just have a layer issue going on where those didn't print correctly, so I'll get those on a revised plan and back to you folks before the next meeting.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions or comments from members of the commission? Seeing head nods. Any questions or comments from members of the public?
Nope.
Seeing none, Eric, I assume you'd like to continue.
Yes, please.
Loaded question, I know. Motion to continue 95 Union Street, labeled as Lot 1, to be located off of Winterberry Lane, to the 12/15/25 meeting of the Easton Conservation Commission.
Second.
Second.
Carol motion, Goodman second, roll call vote. Carol, aye.
Rossman, aye.
Goodman, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Great. Well, thank you everybody very much, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks,
I
guys.
needed 2 Thanks. minutes. Have a good night.
Break.
Actually, just 1 second. Eric, are you still there?
Yeah, I am.
So I believe we also have 95 Union as under board discussions as a violation. Am I wrong about that, Jen? Nope. So I just wanted you to mark that I think that we've talked about that throughout the meeting. So I don't think that'll come back up tonight
Okay, great.
in relation to that gravel stream. Just wanted to let you know before you left,
Sounds great. I appreciate that. Thank you.
of course. And I believe Commissioner Crossman just asked for a motion to adjourn. Not adjourn, motion for a 5-minute recess.
Two's fine, but 5 would be good. Whatever the standard is.
Let's do 5.
Vecchio second.
Unfortunately, Carol motion, Vecchio second, roll call vote, Carol aye.
Brosman, aye.
Goodman, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
See you all soon. All right, welcome back, everybody. Let's just do a roll call vote to reestablish attendance. Carol present.
Crossman present.
Goodman present.
Speedy present.
Vecchio present.
We did it. Up next is continued hearings and possible deliberations. First is 40 Bristol Drive. 40 Bristol is in the process of stormwater review and has requested a continuance to the next meeting. Any comment amongst the commission regarding this? Seeing none, motion to continue 40 Bristol Drive to the December 15, 2025 meeting of the Easton Conservation Commission.
Vecchio second.
Carol motion, Vecchio second, roll call vote, Carol I.
Crossman, aye.
Goodman, aye.
Speedy, aye.
Vecchio I.
Up next is Main Street in Quested Brook. Again, there is a requested continuance. Any comments amongst the commission before I make a motion? Seeing none, motion to continue Main Street in Quested Brook to the December 15, 2025 meeting of the Easton Conservation Commission.
Crossman second.
Carol motion, Crossman second, roll call vote, Carol I.
Crossman, aye.
Goodman, aye.
Speedy, aye.
Vecchio I.
All right, moving on to certificates of compliance. First up is 244 Prospect Street.
It's ready for a full.
Motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 244 Prospect Street.
So moved. Second.
Thanks, Mike. Carol motion, Goodman second. Roll call vote, Carol I.
Crossman, aye.
Goodman, aye.
Speedy, aye.
Vecchio I.
I love a good so moved, by the way.
So,
I don't know if that was the right way to use it, but I do like the move. So moved.
so moved requires one of you to say second, and then it becomes his motion.
Right. Yeah.
9 Alderwood Drive.
I've contacted them twice. I do not see the required plantings in the buffer zone, and I have not received a reply to that, so it is not ready for tonight's meeting. You can-
So what I'd propose here, because how long has 9 Alderwood been on? Was it just last meeting and this meeting?
I don't even remember if it was last meeting.
Okay. Well, let's just, I'm sorry, we'll send them one more letter just saying, contact us, or we're going to probably make a motion that'll require you to refile.
Yep, that's fine.
So no actions required by us right now unless anyone feels contrary to the position I just indicated. All right. So up next is 96 Kevin's Way.
It's ready for a full.
Great. Motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 96 Kevin's Way.
Vecchio second.
Carol motion, Vecchio second, roll call vote, Carol I.
Crossman, aye.
Goodman, aye.
Speedy, aye.
Vecchio I.
Up next is 2 Western Ave.
Also ready for a full.
Motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 2 Western Ave.
Crossman second.
Carol motion, Crossman second, roll call vote, Carol I.
Crossman, aye.
Goodman, aye.
Speedy, aye.
Vecchio I.
And then finally we have 530 and 550 Turnpike Street.
Completed and ready for a full.
Motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 530 and 550 Turnpike Street.
Vecchio second.
Carol motion, Vecchio second, roll call vote, Carol I.
Crossman, aye.
Goodman, aye.
Speedy, aye.
Vecchio I.
Okay, let's move on to enforcement. First up is 331 Bay.
Michael's joining us, so it'll just be a second.
Perfect.
Good evening.
Good evening. So just before you begin, could you please just introduce yourselves by name and address for the record?
Yeah, my name is Michael Tierney. I live at 331 Washington Street. Bay Road. Sorry, 331 Bay Road. Do we start now?
Yeah.
Or?
If you can, would you just run us through what's going on?
Sure. So, and it looks like we have a couple of violations going on in our property. Somebody reached out to Jen and informed her that there may have been some violations going on in the wetlands, some cutting down some trees. And so she came out. We had, she had a visit, and we just kind of wrote up a letter. If you mind, we can just read it.
Yeah, please.
That should explain everything. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Ashley Tierney. I also live at 331 Bay Road. My husband and I purchased our home in August of this year. While clearing and performing cleanup of fallen trees and branches on the left side of our property, leading toward the backyard, we discovered a large pile of cut trees and another pile of tree stumps located behind our fence directly adjacent to the wetland markers. This area was heavily overgrown and not initially visible. Upon closer inspection, it became clear that these piles consisted entirely of previously cut trees and stumps, likely left behind long before our ownership. In an effort to improve the condition of the area, we decided to chip the smaller material and remove the larger tree sections and stumps. During this process, Jen Carlino visited our property, following up on a complaint that trees were being cut within the wetlands. During her visit, we discussed the situation. She informed us that the work constituted a violation for 1, performing work within the 50-foot buffer zone, and 2, conducting work within 100 feet of the wetlands without a permit. At that time, Jen issued a verbal cease and desist of any further work on the left side of the property. However, she permitted Michael to finish removing the remaining piles of trees and stumps and to consolidate wood chips for later use along the same side of the property. She also explained that we would likely need to restore the disturbed areas within the 50-foot buffer zone by planting native wetland trees, shrubs, and seeds, and that a permit application would be required for any current or future work within 100 feet of the wetlands. We now understand, as the property owners, inherit any previous violations associated with the land. However, based on the condition and extent of the debris that was present, we believe this issue may have existed for 10 years or more. We're also aware of a 2018 wetland violation for clearing in the back portion of the property, during which a motion to restore the area was made. Based on the material still present, it appears that the restoration was never completed, and we have found no record of follow-up action during that time period. Given these circumstances, we respectfully ask that the Commission take these factors into consideration. As new homeowners seeking to comply fully with all conservation requirements, we would like to propose the following steps to move forward. 1, file the appropriate permit and application to document and address any clearing or work already performed within the 100-foot buffer zone. 2, finish removing the remaining debris along the wetland boundary, then level and stabilize the area, allowing it to naturally regenerate as it has over the past several years.
That's it.
Okay, thank you. So I a couple weeks ago when this came to my attention, I pulled up the Google Earth and was just looking at when clearing was done. And it does seem to me like stuff had been done around 2009 and then again in the later 2010s, which is consistent with both the enforcement orders and what's going on back there. I think the question that we need to answer is, or that you guys need to answer is, what do you want to do with the yard? There's now, however you got here, there's an enforcement order in front of us, so we have to take some type of action. And I think in some ways we're limited in the scope of choices that we have. And so I think understanding what your goals are back there and how we can sort of help you get to the place you want to be. That's sort of where I'm at. So I think possible options are, and probably one that you don't want to do, is restore the entire area with shrubs and herbaceous plants all the way through all of it, all buffer zones. You could do a request for determination of applicability, which is an easier permit application, which would get you likely to the 50-foot. And then if you want more, we'd be looking at a notice of intent, which is just a more stringent application process in which you'd have to have a certified site plan and get some experts involved. So I think understanding what you want to do here will help us facilitate getting this fixed.
Sure. So anything within the 50-foot buffer zone, we're not looking to do anything. You know, there was the pile of debris that was back there, which is a violation in its own. And, you know, we were already, planning on removing, in the middle of removing that debris. So beyond that, there's nothing, we don't want to do anything within that 50-foot buffer zone.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing we did want to do was on the left side of the house, with all the material that we chipped, we just wanted to line that left side with wood chips. And that's really it.
So this is the disadvantage of me having not been out to your yard. When you say the left side of the house, what are we talking about? And that could be, I think both Jen and Commissioner Goodman have been out. What range are we in there? What buffer zone, if any?
I think just 100-foot buffer zone, or none. I don't think we really are in the 50-foot buffer zone at all on the left side. The only 50-foot buffer zone, I think, was just where that pile of debris was stacked up. Is that what you're asking?
It sounds accurate. So not within the 50, within the 100-foot buffer zone, but remember that we're in the ACEC, so there's an additional 100-foot buffer zone on top of that.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Jen, do you have any? Yeah.
If you could send a copy of the letter that you read into the record, that would be really helpful. You just email that over when you have a moment.
You want me to do that when?
Oh, whenever you have a moment.
Whenever you can.
Yeah, not right this minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just for the record. Thank you.
Yep.
Between now and, well, ideally not between now and next meeting, within the next couple weeks.
Sure.
So the the proposal to not do anything within the inner 50 feet would not meet the requirements of the bylaw.
Yeah.
And so that's why I had brought up the commission is probably going to require some sort of restoration work in that area. Just for your discussion.
Worthy Chair, if I might. As you said, I was out at the site, I guess, working backwards in spreading, it would look in terms of that second 100-foot buffer, the ACEC. It looks like if you were to picture it to go from the street, it would be out. I think Jen would probably agree that you could probably get past just about to the septic cover where it's out of our jurisdiction. So Jen, if we were coming in, and Michael, if we were coming in from your driveway and we walked along the side of the house, I believe all the way up till we reach your septic area where you want to spread the chips in there, that's completely outside our jurisdictional area, if I'm not mistaken.
I need to see that on a plan. 200 feet is pretty far, and I thought it extended most of the property, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, it could be on the plan. As far as the bylaw, the bylaw is the bylaw, but in the past, this commission, obviously with different commissioners and different agents and so forth, has done what the petitioner is asking, and that is to just allow a natural regrowth. That's my opinion, given the cooperation, given the age of the violation, as you said on going back on Google Earth, we're talking, back to 2018, to let it regrow. I don't think it's really that big of an ask. It is, it definitely does need to be cleaned up. It's on steady footing on their property. If you want to go walk your dog on your property, you shouldn't have to worry about breaking a leg. Yeah, I get it, and I get the intent of the bylaw, but I also want to take into consideration the situation these folks found themselves in, and think we've got to come up with some type of amenable solution. And again, I applaud their letter, and I applaud the the cooperation and letting Jen get in there a couple different times and looking at it and listening to her. As we know, we normally, sometimes we don't get that type of cooperation. So, I'd like to take that into consideration, and, letting Mother Nature heal itself is something that, you can argue it both ways, I guess. At least, again, that's my opinion.
Yes.
What are we talking about for space within the 50 foot?
It's maybe 50 feet by 50 feet, like a 50 by 50 foot square.
We would need to draw that on the plan just to confirm the square footage. Yeah, but so I just want to mention, it's not just under the bylaw, the inner 50 feet is also under the state law. And they have been cooperative, and that's very helpful.
Yeah.
So.
Nate, were you going to add something before I cut you off?
No, just that I agree with Mr. Goodman that, I think that, the cooperation and the willingness to work with us should count for something.
I agree. Nothing has regrown back there yet because of all the trees that were down and laying on the ground, right?
Correct.
So what we're dealing with back there right now is essentially a bare chunk of dirt.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm just gonna throw out for previous violations with cooperative folks, there has been a restoration plan, and then you tend to cut down the number of plants required.
Yeah.
So you're consistent, just throwing that out there.
So, and Jen, I'm sorry to pop quiz you here, but if they want to do some type of, and we can talk about what it means to revegetate the 50 foot in a minute, but if they want to essentially allow that 50 foot to be restored in some way, we're talking about still needing an RDA.
Correct, for beyond 50 feet to have been cleared. Yeah.
Okay. And so with an RDA, there's no requirement for a certified site plan. This is something we can work with.
Correct. Yeah. I think you had a septic plan, right? And we talked about drawing on that plan together for you. Yeah.
Okay. So my thought is, let's start with that. I think a native seed mix makes some sense, and some plantings. But we can work with you on what those plantings look like. Anybody feel strongly about any of that, please jump in.
That sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, I think that's fair, Ben.
Sounds good to me.
Without having a good idea of exactly what the size is, it's hard for me to tell you exactly what the plantings would be, but we can figure it out.
Well, would it be an option to kind of see what happens through next year, through the summer, to see what kind of naturally, repopulates on its own? Because I know when all those trees were back there, there was stuff growing on top of the trees like crazy. So I'm sure that if we give it one season, a spring and a summer, just maybe see what it looks like at that point. And because I'm sure a lot of the stuff, might come back on its own too. I don't know if that would be an option.
Some may come back on its own. We just want to be careful that it's not invasive species, because then that will really take over your whole yard, and you'll be very unhappy with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to agree with say that to Jen. That I was worried about the invasive species with that. So
yeah, so if you have bare dirt, which is what I'm imagining this back 50 by 50 patch looks like at the moment, you'll have issues with erosion. You'll probably have issues with some invasive plants that will not look very good. Our native seed mix that we typically recommend it's essentially a wildflower meadow, and it's not a bad aesthetic look. It's also not a high cost item to get. It's super helpful for pollinators and local wildlife. but I think I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I think that's a, planting something. I don't mind. If it's some native seeds and maybe a couple of high blueberry bushes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, like I said, we want to do the right thing, and we just, just kind of stinks that this was, that this is all of a sudden our problem, which, that's, it is what it is. We're the homeowners, so we have to fix what's broken. So
it is definitely less than ideal when it happens this way, and I'm sorry this is the first way we're meeting you. So any additional questions or comments from other members of the commission here? So I think, to be clear, where we're going with this is a request for determination of applicability.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
We can, obviously write that up and just send a follow-up letter, and just to make sure that, there's a lot going on at this meeting today. So just to make sure that you're comfortable with, the proposals so far.
Do you have any additional questions?
Nope. That's it.
Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Good night.
Up next is 561 Foundry Street.
They have contacted me that they have hired an engineering firm and a wetland consultant to assist them with their violation. They asked for an extension of time from tonight's meeting, and so the next meeting is December 15th. So you don't need to take any action on that.
Thank you. And then next is Flyway Pond.
Correct. We were notified that there were some asphalt grindings that were added to the trails in and near the wetland. Those have since been removed, so this is just a FYI for the commission. We will need to stabilize the area and likely need to be using wood chips.
Thank you, Jen. Then moving on to released. First up is 5 Jonathan Drive.
Yeah, we can do these as a batch because I've inspected all of them. I've already sent all the letters or emails out, whichever way I've been working with these people. So 5 Jonathan, 153 Bay Road, 80 Short Street, and 453 Turnpike Street have all received their release letters.
Perfect.
Yeah.
No action required by us at this time, right?
Correct. Yep,
So,
they won't be on the agenda anymore.
Good. On to still working.
Yeah, still working. So 358 Turnpike pops down into that section. They did remove the boat, but they went over a couple of tires to get to the boat. So it'd be nice if they removed the tires as well. 109 Rockland, they are still working to remove some fill that's adjacent to the wetland. 20 Central Street, we're waiting to have a site inspection with their wetland consultant. 80 Goldfinch, there's a little bit more work to do to stop mowing, remove some lighting, and no further alteration of the conservation property. But they did have the area surveyed and the fence has been relocated. And 5 Pheasant, the invasives have been removed under supervision of the wetland scientists, and in the spring they will plant the required plantings. So those are all still working.
And then on to unresponsive.
Unresponsive. So whichever way I've been working with people, either email or letters or phone, they've been contacted. There hasn't been a reply. If it was an email, I printed it and sent it through the mail, and still no reply. So these are folks that you will need to decide how you want to move forward. They already have enforcement orders. 95 we did already talk about. So I'm hoping after tonight's meeting, we will have a concrete plan that someone will be calling or emailing me, preferably tomorrow, to get that moving. But the other 3, you will need to take some sort of action.
Yeah. 230 Main Street's been going on a really long time.
Yes. Oh, and that's all been planted. We're just we asked for their final monitoring reports from their wetland consultants. So that could be done if they just provided that final report.
So I guess kind of the way I see this batch is there's sort of a lot of time between now and our next meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So my thought is, and everyone else speak up if you agree or disagree, but why don't we send another letter and make it clear that if we do not hear from you between now and 12/15/25, we will be strongly considering fines at the 12/15/25 meeting beginning.
I like it. Would it make sense to lay out what the fines would be so we don't have to send another letter?
Yeah,
Yes.
our bylaw just says the commission can issue fines of up to $300 per day per violation. We've only issued fines once since I've been here, and it was the $300 a day, mostly because everything had gone unanswered.
Yeah. But
It
I
would
think
be smart to recite the bylaw in the letter.
Agreed.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you don't have to keep sending the letter.
Right, something to the effect of under our authority under the bylaws, XYZ, the fine will be starting.
Okay, sounds good.
What were those 3 addresses though again, Mr. Chair, please?
230 Main Street, 718 Turnpike Street, 409, 413, and 425 Turnpike Street.
Okay.
Which is one violation, the 409, 413, and 425.
Right.
And it sounds as though 230 Main may in fact be done, and we're literally just waiting on a final monitoring report. Just for edification there. All right, anything else we need to do regarding enforcement?
No.
So we'll turn to.
Oh, could I get a clarification? I want to get a clarification on the millings, and something Jen said it confuses me. Is something I've done for a lot of years. Can you explain how do wood chips stabilize? I imagine we're talking about a ditch or a groove worn in a path or a pathway or a road or.
Are you talking about the flyway trail?
Yeah, is that what we're talking about? Filling holes in the road with wood chips?
No. It's the trail itself from the bridge. There's some roots on the ground. He had filled that with tar, and then we removed the tar, and now it's just exposed roots. So we need he took out also extra dirt. So we need to add wood chips back to level that terrain out. Otherwise, you're just falling into the ruts of the exposed roots.
Yeah, no, I get totally what you're saying, and I understand the necessity of filling the ruts. I just question the use of wood chips because I've tried filling ruts in my woods at my job for 30 years, and it doesn't work. They either wash out, they get forced out, or they just smell. They break down. They don't break down fast, and it just smells. I just think we're better off to put dirt in there, just plain old regular dirt. Whatever's the site conditions are, use the dirt from the particular area rather than wood chips. That's all. Splitting hairs, but when I hear the word wood chip and stabilization, it's confusing.
Okay.
That's all.
Thank you, Mike.
Just like you wanted to say, motion approved or so moved. Little work. We don't have a Quessett Brook in town either. We have a Queeset Brook.
You caught me, Mike. You caught me.
Nah, I heard worse. Massapoag Street was worse than that.
I lived on it at one time. Pequannock still gets me every once in a while. So on to board discussion. Review meeting minutes of 10/17/25. Anybody got a motion?
I'd like to motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Carol second. Vecchio motion. Carol second. Roll call vote. Carol, aye.
Crossman, aye.
Goodman, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Jen had circulated the 2026 draft meeting schedule. Anybody have a chance to look that over?
Oh, I must have missed that.
So let's table that until December, assuming that works for you, Jen. I don't know if you have to post them a year in advance or something.
I need to get them on permit eyes so that at the meeting of the 15th, we know which I can post the next meeting that they're going to be continued to. So
Okay.
you need to know soon. I mean,
Okay. All right. So really, you need the January meeting to be confirmed.
I mean, if it's up to me, I mean, if it's left on me, I can confirm right now that the January and February, March dates do work for me.
Same here.
okay.
So I say we sort of table the rest of it until the next meeting, give everybody a chance to review. Just particularly that August and July period of time tends to have at least me going missing.
That's fine. Then I can at least get a few of the dates into permit eyes so we can continue. And when people ask me when the next meetings are and when their deadlines are, I have an answer for them.
That makes perfect sense.
That's fine.
Thank you. So 456 Depot Street, potential land donation.
Yes. In 2023, we were asked if we were interested in some property. I provided the standard letter I give to folks who are interested in donating land. It was a bank who owned the property. We didn't hear from them until maybe last year. There was a change in ownership. I think a different bank. Something happened there. They did send us a map, a plan this time. Let me see if I can share the screen. Are you seeing the map?
It looks like it's loading. We got it.
Okay, and it's a little funny on my screen. Is it big enough? Can you see the whole thing?
Yep.
At least for me.
Okay, so this is the and you can see my mouth, the marker.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is the whole it's not the whole property because it's cut off, but this is the property in question. You'll see that there looks like there's an old road, and then there was possibly either a house proposed or there was a house here. You'll also notice that a portion of the property is lawn and with a pool on it. When I look at the plan they sent us, and this is sideways, so the pool was here with the grass from the neighbor's property here. And you'll notice this old property line. So this is parcel 8, I think, and this is lot 7. And it shows the house. So I tried to do the site inspection last week. Couldn't quite find the entrance, and I was really short on time. So I will need to go do another site inspection. But anything that's going to require us to, try to get the adjacent property owner to stop mowing or remove a pool is really not something we have the bandwidth for.
Are we sure that shape matches up? Could you just show me?
Yeah, remember it's going to be sideways. So this is facing straight up.
I hate to ask, but can you rotate that page on page 1?
Yeah, let me see. Okay. So then this is where the pool was, and then the lawn and the neighbor's house. And this is where the driveway came in.
I mean, I believe you. It was just that's surprising.
Yeah. So I do have to do a site inspection, but I guess I just wanted to point out this section, right? So if there's no driveway and there's no house there, then I would think lot 7 is desirable, but this lot 8B is less so. And now I have to try. I might have to do this 3 times, sorry.
And what do you think, Jen, the approximate acreage is on it? I looked at it quick on Mass Arc before the meeting and, you know, trying to make sense of it. You know, what do you think, roughly?
I don't know off the top of my head, Mike. That's a good question.
Funny, Mike, because I looked at it. I think it said 4.9.
Okay.
I might be incorrect. And like my first thought is the Mass Arc is always, not always, but I've seen them be just way off compared to certified site plans.
On the side of the, yeah, it's funny sometimes, you know, like Jen said, till you get out there, you know, you look at it on there or NHESP, and then you get out in the field and you say, huh, interesting. So
I totally get what you're saying, Jen, about, you know, we'd essentially be getting ourselves into a adversarial situation, might be how to put it. And I wonder if there isn't a way to just fix it in a deed, right? Where
well, you couldn't. Well, no, I don't think you could, because Chapter 40, Section 8C says that conservation property is, you know, natural resource protection. It wouldn't have someone's private property and a pool and grass on it. That's not.
Yeah, but it's not conservation property yet, right?
Correct, but I think you would have to carve out this section of the lot.
So like at the same closing, could they carve out that section a lot, give it or sell it to that homeowner, and then give us the rest?
It's probably easier to, so it looks to me like the lot line would line up like that. So say, you know what, we would really like lot 7, but this lot 8, ask these people if they would like to own it instead.
I can't imagine they wouldn't.
So
based on current use.
If that makes sense to folks, then I will, you know, go back to the attorney and make that suggestion and see how we do.
That makes sense to me. And I think, like you say, you could really you could do the survey marker from 1 to 2 and fix the problem.
Yeah. Let me just make a note here. Sorry. Oop. Am I still sharing?
You are.
Yep.
Why? There we go. Okay. So let me just make a note.
So I'd like to comment on
it at the same time here. So let me just make my note. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Go ahead.
Oh, so Mr. Chair, if I may, I'd like to comment on this property. I don't want any part of it. I don't want any part of these builders or developments cutting off corners, carving corners, giving it to us. Like, what are they giving us? At 4 acres. I honestly, if we're given our current fiscal position in the town, I'd rather have the nickel in tax revenue than another patch of land that really doesn't connect to any of our larger conservation pieces, given the amount, the sheer acreage we have already. Doesn't connect really to anything important. It's, you know, it's not protecting a braided stream or a pond. You know, really, no, I'd rather have the tax revenue. And I know in the past in this part of town, we had across the street, and forgive me, I don't remember the address, but there's that beautiful brown log cabin looking house next to Peter Palms, that sits, you know, back in the field. And we were offered that, and we turned that down, that directly abuts the Metacomet. And that's a beautiful rolling piece of land. I don't see the point of us accepting this. We say no and keep giving us our tax money. Again, if it's a nickel, we need every nickel we can get at this point in time in this town. So that's my position on these gives to us. We're not getting anything here for free.
An interesting position. I haven't looked at it very closely to even look at what the conservation resources there are. So I think before I had a stronger position on that, I'd want to know, is it something with vernal pools? Is it something we're putting something into essentially a time capsule to preserve? But we've had stuff that's gotten complicated or that we haven't accepted in my time here. And it's definitely a school of thought that if it doesn't connect to another resource area, we have other properties to dedicate our time and resources to manage.
Both very good points.
I'll say this too.
I'll start somewhere.
It's also too. It's now it's unfortunately kind of close to the fire, the fire police department building anyway. And that if it probably wasn't getting built, it'd be kind of sweet. But now that we've kind of already, gone in there on that habitat, yeah.
Does it connect to the Gill property?
Don't think so. Does it, Jen?
It's just sort of landlocked back there.
Yeah, it's just right.
It is close in a way to, we have another piece out there, but it's not contiguous. And again, it's not like there's a braided stream or even a perennial stream running from one section to the other. There just doesn't seem to be any, it's just one of those pieces. And again, it's just, I don't know, that's just
Wetland and upland habitat and
yeah.
trees.
I'd rather have $5 in taxes.
We'll know. I would know better after the site inspection.
Yeah. So I am of the position that we just sort of keep looking into it.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So CPC updates.
None at this time. We have a meeting this Thursday. So for next meeting, I'll be able to have an update.
Thank you, Phil. Chair updates. I don't have any substantial updates for you tonight. Environmental planner updates.
Okay. Old Pond Conservation Area. The restoration project is getting pretty close to being finished. We've removed exotic invasive species from about 1,600 square feet, and we had enough volunteers to plant almost 120 shrubs last weekend, or the weekend before. Nearly finished the fencing. There's a little bit more to finish. That would close out the grant from Taunton River Watershed Association. So if you have not been there, you should definitely take a walk by. The deer fencing will be temporary, but probably up for a year or two until the plants get established so deer and rabbit do not eat them all. And then on the opposite side of the stone wall that you weren't able to see before is also a ton of burning bush, and volunteers have asked, hey, can we cut that down too? And it's just one project at a time. We'll take another look in the spring. So that project went really well. There's at least 300 hours of volunteer time into it, and the grant was $20,000. Town meeting update.
Real quick, Jen, I just wanted to point out too, just for your own self, Jen, you'd also put in quite a bit of work on that Old Pound project. I just want you to be recognized for all the work you did. You guys should see the piles that she built. They're amazing, of all these wood stacks for habitat. They're sick, not just to mention all the other fencing. So, just give credit where it's due. She put in quite a bit of effort, not just the volunteers. So,
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
Big thank you.
Thank you. Town meeting update. Our 2 CPC projects did pass at town meeting, so the invasives within the ponds project will go forward, and Wheaton Farm Barn phase 2 repairs were all approved. Open space sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, great. I heard secondhand that Nate did a great job talking about the projects, which was well appreciated. I was both out of town on business and had spoke at the site walk about not speaking. So I appreciate your efforts, Nate, and I'm glad.
Let the record show that I did stand up and I was poised to speak about them, but then one kindly citizen spoke about the invasives, and then Langwater spoke about the barn. So I just stood by and patted myself on the back.
Nate, don't snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory. You did great.
That's right.
I did sit through the whole thing, though, so give me some credit. Yeah.
Our open space and recreation plan has been approved by Division of Conservation Services, and so as soon as I'm able to, the final plan will be on our website so other people can have access to it. And then the last thing to mention is just that I received an email today about the town's upcoming budget process meeting. There'll be one on November 19th and one on December 10th, both from 6 to 7 p.m. RO Elementary School, 101 Lothrop Street. So those are not meetings that I am able to attend in the evening on those nights, but if others want to attend and see what the budget situation is for next year, it's probably a good idea if you're able to go.
Thank you, Jen. Any pertinent item not reasonably anticipated by the chair? Seeing none, motion to adjourn.
Second. Crossman.
Carol motion, Crossman second. Roll call vote. Carol, aye.
Crossman, aye.
Goodman, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Have a good
Thank
night,
you,
everybody.
everyone.
Thanks,
Happy
everyone.
Thanksgiving.
Take care.
See you in
Yeah, happy
December.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Have a blessed holiday.
You
You
too.
too.